So I joined there as head of customer strategy, president customer strategy, and the whole idea there was that we had to hold the entire customer relationship in one place. And house it in one place because that has the potential of enhancing business manifold. Firstly, if your same customer is able to spend, you are able to get 10% more per trip from an existing customer, that's 10% increase in this thing. If you increase their visits, the number of times they come to you by 10%, that's 20% increase to your business. If you increase the number of categories they buy, number of things that they bought by 10%, that becomes, so the potential is infinite. You just can keep on going like that. So we decided, I think Future Group as a company decided then to put all of this together into one role. And that's when I was recruited for that role. They created this position which was supposed to handle everything from marketing to research, loyalty, media, all of those things came together. So I think the primary function of any retail is the operations, which is, I think a lot of companies, if I look at even in consumer space, a company like Coca-Cola, for example, defines itself as an operations company first, making sure that you efficiently moving the bottles in, you're not losing any. When a customer wants a soft drink, he'll ask for a Coke. If Coke is not reached there yet, or if it's out of stock, he'll buy a Pepsi and go on with life, right? And you miss that sale. So retail is exactly like that. Retail operations is really the crux. The second big area of operation is something called category management. So there are people who specialize in, let's say, understand fashion. So they are ones who are predicting what is the fashion that will sell. So there are designers in there who kind of decide what is the fashion that's going to sell next year. Merchandisers, as we call them, the merchandising team, they will decide what is the kind of merchandise that will sell next year. And the merchandising team which also decides how to display it and how to make it most attractive to customers in a store. Retail requires a lot of, every store requires a marketing person. You're marketing to your customers who are coming to the store. You're marketing to them inside the store. You're actually calling them whenever there is a special offer or something. You're reaching out to those customers. So there is a lot of database marketing involved here. The fourth kind of role, typically this is a technology organization. You must understand that retail involves a lot of technology, because it's all, every single transaction that happens is going through a central server. So big data becomes a very important aspect of retail. So if you're a big data specialist, retail will always have space for you. So the entire loyalty team kind of works on analytics of the customer. So in big data analytics, you are figuring out customer segments, you're looking at customer journey, we are actually predicting that what is the next durable that you will buy now. I started out as an engineer. So as an engineer, I had this very nationalistic forward that, because I studied in an institute which was subsidized in IIT. So I wanted to pay back the government. So I worked in a public sector company for 3 years. I was in ONGC. Of course, it helped that we were working in Bombay High and I used to fly to work, as they say. And it was great fun. I mean, I really enjoyed that as a young man. That was a great experience. But something was amiss and I decided that I needed to study more. So then I did my MBA from IIM Bangalore. And post that I've been working in sales and marketing kind of roles. It's all, like you say, I worked in very different areas which are chalk and cheese in many cases. But to me, it's always been a logical change. So I first started using, like you should do, in sales. So I was selling toys. Subsequent to that, I moved to advertising. In advertising, for about 8-9 months, I worked in client servicing. But I was working on a couple of media clients, and Walt Disney being one of them. And that's what kind of prompted me to move into media. And I moved into media planning. This was 1993, and I think it was a great decision in terms of timing because media was just taking off. And 1995, I got this big, very interesting assignment, which was, I was the first employee of something called HTA Fulcrum in those days, which then became Mindshare, which now is a behemoth called Groupon. It's by far the largest media company in the country, controlling almost 50% of media in the country. So I was the first employee of that. That's something that no one can ever take away. Then moved to Reliance to handle their media. And from there on came to Future Group to look after the entire customer strategy portfolio. So this was really literally coming together of all my past experiences and coalescing into one role. Yeah, you require, if you're joining as a designer, you need to definitely have qualification in design, commercial arts. You need to understand, you probably have done a course in design. If you're working in category, then you are probably a general MBA, or you basically studied a particular category, textile for example. You might have done your, if you're in textiles, you've probably done that. If you're in operations, you need to be a generalist. You can come from any background, but operations management, if you've done, that will really help. But even general MBAs are quite happy to start out as department managers and move up. If you have passion for understanding customer, if you have passion for making sure of getting things done, etc., then I think you will do very well. So in an interview, we typically look for anybody who is able to work hard, who has attention to detail. We used to have this line which said that retail is detail, because any detail. I'll do a simple thing. When you're walking in an aisle, let's say the aisle is too narrow, and two customers are trying to pass at the same time, it leaves a slightly unpleasant experience. And then the customer said, "Yeah, I don't want to go to the store anymore." You lost that customer and you didn't even realize what happened. Now that you require a detail-oriented person standing in the aisle, observing and saying that this aisle has become too narrow, so let me make sure that it's 3.5 feet so that two trolleys can pass easily. Now this, you just need power of observation. You need to be on the ball, you need to be on the ground, which is why passion, I said first, and hard work. If you have these two qualities, you can always succeed in retail. We've had examples of people who were just, started working after the 12th, pursued their degree while they were studying. They did courses available from within the company, and they rose to the level of store managers, in many cases beyond that. So it's one field where you can actually start from absolute bottom and go to the top of the pyramid, because retail basically rewards, like I said, two things, passion and hard work. It does reward that, because if you just keep at it, I think you'll always get things done. And for people who get things done, retail typically has a lot of value for them. So if it's a specialist degree, honestly speaking, most of the degrees that are being touted, international degrees, are not necessarily from best of the places. So people these days talk about going and studying in Poland because it's cheap. But the fact is, what is the degree going to be worth when you come back to India? It may not be worth much at all. So you need to be careful about what you study. If you go to an Ivy League school and study, of course it will be valued anywhere in the world. Or if you study a specific area, so retail operation, there may be a specialization available for retail operations in some university, and you do that, that obviously will have some value, because then people will say, this guy understands, or he'll hit the ground running. So, and that's what will matter. But just because it's international, I don't think that's a very wise idea to kind of follow that. First qualification required is passion, because I think in retail one of the things is that you'll be working when everybody else is on a holiday. So you have to be prepared for that. There is some change in customer behavior, but real retail will always remain as. In fact, even companies like Amazon are looking to do a brick and mortar come e-commerce kind of an experience. So there is increasing awareness, and there are some theorists who believe that only people who will succeed in the retail space in the longer run are ones who are able to combine both the real world as well as online things together, rather than just one. Because for the e-commerce business, the cost of logistics is just too high. Because I'm going to give you a simple example. 2,000 people buy something from a store. Then I have to send the entire stuff, put it on a truck, send it to the store, people buy it from there and take it to their homes. If I take that order on e-commerce, I have to send 2,000 different packets to 2,000 different homes. Just look at how the cost multiplies. So that's cost of logistics, which is very, very, very high. There's also the cost of customer acquisition, which in e-commerce is very, very high at the moment. So disproportionately high amount of money needs to be spent to acquire a customer. So I think to get best utilization of this, if you had a hub and spoke kind of model where you send to, let's say, 5,000 stores and people, or collection centers, you can call them, and you can collect it from there. So the idea of omni-commerce was really catching steam when people were saying that omni-commerce is that I should have the flexibility of ordering online but picking it up offline, or ordering offline, coming to the store and saying send it home. Brick and mortar spaces to ensure that, and Walmart is beefing up its online operations. So I think it's a combination that works the best. Understand, so the customer journey is what we were interested in. So it was our own imagination and our own thinking is what limited how much you could deliver. So I mean, when you have a customer loyalty program that you're running, we were coining these terms of saying, let's see what is the next durable that the customers will buy. And that's a question. So most of the times it starts with a question that you ask. If you ask the right question and you keep at it, you will find the answer. So in my case, I think most of the times it was just standing in the store, sometimes observing people, and sometimes you get your insights from that. We also did something called store service, where you actually would don the store uniform, you report to the team member for that day, and actually sell. You stood on the floor and sold. And of course, like I said, in 3-4 hours, your legs gave way because you're not used to standing and working for a day. And but the kind of insights you got from there was invaluable. Big Bazaar Profit Club, where a customer paid 10,000 rupees and then shopped for 1,000 rupees a month for 12 months. So essentially they got 2,000 rupees extra. And what we got in return was customer loyalty for 12 months, because you will come to the store and every month, and you will get to, we as a result got a customer tied down to us for next 12 months. Whereas the average frequency of visit was 5.5 times a year. With this, you ensured that they came 12 times a year. So by doubling that, I was doubling my business from them. And typically a customer who paid, they would not stop at 1,000 rupees. You will shop for 3,000 rupees, and so on the remaining 2,000 I'm making full margin. So it was actually a win-win proposition. It's one of the most successful programs at Future Group. It's still running, and it's running very, very well now. But the whole idea there was, it's great for the customer. Customer gets 40% ROI. If you, for those of you who are mathematically minded, you can calculate internal rate of return of cash flows as they happen. But when you you start with 10,000 rupees and you keep withdrawing 1,000 rupees a month for 12 months, you get 40% return basically. So for 12 months, right? So you withdrawn 12,000, but your investment was 10,000 in the first month, it came down to 9,000 the next month, 8,000, and so on and so forth. So it's great for the customer. 40% value is unheard of in today's market, right? And for the retailer, we also managed to get 15-20% margin from that customer, in spite of the fact that, so it is a great win-win proposition. So that was one of the programs that we launched. Bit technical though. The other very interesting thing that we launched was T24. India is the world's largest retail market. Many of you may not know that, but India has got as many as 50 lakh outlets. So 5 million outlets across the country, and it's some people say 50 million. So some people say that India has 5 crore outlets. Retail is something that you could always look at as a long-term career option, and it will always be there.